Good day, Amherstburg. It's myself, Laura D'Alessandro.
And it's Ron Joffe from the Rivertown Times in Amherstburg, back on the airwaves of 107.9 FM, CKBG The Berg, for the Rivertown Times Weekend Review. Brought to you by the Hearing and Dizziness Clinic, located at 285 Sandwich Street South in Amherstburg, or find us online at youhear.ca.
I feel like it's a careful what you wish for type of thing. Last week we were hoping it would warm up and the snow would go away. Well, it's warmed up and now it's raining. So
yeah, the snow's getting washed away by the rain, and it's one of those cool, damp, moist, miserable mornings. So
and they always happen on Wednesdays.
Exactly. Yeah, we got Louise and Ashley out delivering the papers, and I don't envy them today.
No, they're earning their buck today for sure.
Exactly. It's wet. It's miserable. At least it's supposed to stop maybe by the time people are hearing this around the noon hour as we record this in the morning, but not fun out there. Just kind of sloppy and miserable.
And I said to my husband, when it rains like this and all the snow melts, you realize all the things you have to do outside. Like when they're covered in snow, nobody cares. We're not going out. And then when it starts to melt, you're like, oh boy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work out there. All right, turning our attention to the paper, one of the top stories on the front page is the Ontario government and Diageo have reached an agreement that will keep Crown Royal products on the shelves of the LCBO. But February 13th announcement refers little of nothing on the job losses here in Amherstburg. No,
it looks like the closure is still going ahead as usual, as planned, which is obviously extremely unfortunate. And it's a $23 million deal. We got the breakdown of how that money's being divided up, and that's part of the page one story, and on our website, rivertowntimes.com, and about $1 million of that's coming to Amherstburg, about $500,000 to Invest Windsor Essex with a specific focus on Amherstburg, and another $500,000 on community projects for Amherstburg. And I've tried to find out what exactly that means, what exactly qualifies as a community project, who's actually getting this, how's the money going to flow, and so far, I'm still awaiting word on that, but I guess that's kind of the breakdown of what is coming to this area. I know there's some folks, including the mayor, that are not exactly impressed with the deal, and some opposition MPPs that are not in favor of the deal. I know NDP MPP Lisa Gretzky of Windsor West is not overly thrilled with it, and her comments are also reflected in the story, as well as those of the government. All part of the page, one of the page one stories in this week's issue of the Rivertown Times. You know, we're thinking of the folks at Diageo. We hope they're able to find those who haven't already left for other employment are able to find other employment, and it's just a tough situation all around.
Yes, for sure. It's probably a developing story too. I'm sure there'll be more to come on where that money's going and where we can look forward to seeing that spent in the community.
Exactly.
In light of negotiations around the possible sale of Bellevue, the Bellevue Conservatory has made the decision to dissolve.
Yeah, the Conservancy was, several members were in at the office last Thursday, and I talked to them about what their plans are, and it sounds like most of their plans have already been finalized and dealt with. They've, monies that they've collected have been distributed around the community, and as a nonprofit, and they are not allowed to give it back to the donors if they've already issued a tax receipt. So that is what happened. I believe the Parkos, Amherstburg Freedom Museum, the Marsh Historical Collection, and the Gibson Gallery were the main recipients of the funds, and they've shut down. And basically, they've said that the town is in negotiations with a private entity. The Amico and the Loop family and the town are negotiating on possible sale of the property, possible acquisition by the private group. And if it's in private hands, the Conservancy says, well, there's no role for us then, because they viewed their role as they would fundraise while the town would own the building, and if the town is going to divest itself of it, you know, they're going to step away, and that's what they've done. They dissolved the corporation or dissolved the organization, I should say, and that's what they've done. And as I said, they've distributed their funds around the community, and they're shutting it down, and they're moving on. So full story on page 3 of this week's RTT. So make sure you check that out, and make sure you check it out on rivertowntimes.com.
An updated report from the Windsor-Essex County Crime Stoppers was presented to Town Council at last Monday night's council meeting.
Yeah, we have kind of a wrap-up on the most recent meeting of council, February 9th. So we have Crime Stopper stats in there. And we also have stats from the Amherstburg Fire Department. So we have a couple stories. I believe both start on page 5. And so make sure you check that out. There's a lot of stats, a lot of numbers. And so make sure you check that out. It's just kind of an update on what's been happening. And we have all that wrap up on page 5 of this week's issue of the Amherstburg or Rivertown Times.
The Amherstburg Fire Department has released stats for the final quarter of 2025. We have a complete breakdown of the numbers in this week's paper.
Yep, so make sure you check that out. And we got, there's a lot of different, how many calls they went on, how many were fire calls, false alarm calls, medical calls, and that sort of thing. That's all part of the breakdown. So we got the complete story in this week's paper and online.
Family Day was Monday, and a couple different things going on around the community. Featured on our front page this week, the Essex County Steam Gas Engine Museum hosted their annual Family Day tour. The Gibson Gallery also hosted their first Family Day event that was held on Sunday at the gallery.
I was out at at Coan Park on Monday afternoon for the Essex County Steam and Gas Engine Museum, and they had some tours going, and it's kind of a smaller version of their show, which is coming up in August. I mean, obviously, being February, nothing's taken out of the barns, but they're taking people through the barns and explaining some of the history they have and some of the antique steam engines, the older farm equipment, and some of the, a lot of the old farm and steam engines they have on site. So, again, it's at Coan Park in McGregor. That's where the museum is located. And if you missed the Family Day activity, they're still booking tours. I mean, you can still give them a call. Numbers in the paper and numbers on the web of how you can get a hold of President Gary Struhar and arrange for a tour for your group. And I'm sure that if you have your family wants to go through, they'll take those tours as well. And they accept school groups. And so give Gary a call. I'm sure he'd be happy to work with you. And I know over at the Gibson Gallery, they did some crafts. They did some activities. And Fred Groves, our freelance reporter, did a story. And on page 10 of this week's RTT. And make sure you check that out, and all part of this week's issue of the Rivertown Times.
Last week, you went out to Villanova for the dress rehearsal of Mamma Mia. Opening night is this Friday, with performances Friday through Sunday this weekend and Thursday through Saturday next weekend. What did you see out there, Ron?
It's coming together really well. They're really happy with how it's going, and they got about the show's double casted, so meaning obviously two students per role. So
kind of like us. We're double casted at the RTT.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nobody has one set role.
Exactly, yeah. We just kind of float around and get a paper out every week.
It's amazing.
And so they, you might, if you go a couple of times, you might see different kids in different roles, but they're all ready to go, and they're getting ready for the show on, as you said, Friday night at 7. Opens up, and it's Friday at 7, Saturday at 7, Sunday at 1, and they come back the following Thursday through Saturday, so the 26th to the 28th. And it's 7 o'clock each night. And again, the only matinee is this Sunday at 1 o'clock. And so make sure you check. We got times, dates, ticket prices, and all kinds of stuff on page 2 of this week's issue of the Rivertown Times. Make sure you pick it up. And again, a great production of Mamma Mia coming to St. Thomas of Villanova. These kids work hard. The staff works hard. They even got some retired teachers. Other classes within the school pull together to help us pull this off. It's not just the kids on stage. They have all the backstage crew, and they have all just even other classes building sets and helping with publicity, and just all kinds of roles are filling at Villanova. And make sure you check it out starting this Friday night.
If you haven't gone to a Villanova play, I highly suggest that you do. I don't know how many I've seen, probably 5 or 6, and they are so good. And just as a mom, I get so emotional. I don't have any kids that go to Villanova yet, but to know the hard work that goes into that and to have a place that those kids can express that talent and build on it, I think we're so fortunate to have a school like Villanova in our community for sure. So go out and support them and take in a great show. Speaking of great shows, Friday night was Friday Night Live out at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. Can I put you on the spot, Terrence? How was it? Were you happy with the turnout and everything went off without a hitch?
Yeah. It was actually one of the best turnouts I think we've ever had.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you credit that to?
Well, I think it's talking to Rev, but
couldn't have been my talent.
No, you're pretty good.
We just had a great lineup. We had fantastic advertising. Thanks to you guys for putting it out there in last week's paper. And the stream was really good. It looked good online. And I think we've got like 200 people almost that have watched it online as well. So we're really pleased. And there's another one coming up for St. Paddy's Day. I think it's the Friday just before St. Patrick's.
It's March 13th, and I know that because it's Ron's birthday that day.
Ew.
So.
Okay. Yeah, so stand by for the next one. Yeah, it was very good. Thank you.
I counted about, I want to say 55, 60 people in the church that night. So
Good.
yeah, it was like you say, a really good turnout, and it was a really good night of music. I enjoyed myself. I'm taking pictures, and I got some in the paper, and there's even more on our social media. But I enjoyed it while I was covering it, so it was a good night all around.
That's always a good sign. Yeah, thanks, Ron.
All right, turning our attention to sports, the Admirals are heading into the playoffs. They'll face off against the Moortown Flags.
They had a couple of games on the weekend, this past weekend, including one in Moortown. And it turned out to be they picked up a big point in Moortown. They tied the game in the third period and forced overtime. They lost in overtime, but it still turned out to be a huge point just getting the overtime, because it put them, they would have likely finished in 6th or 7th, but they ended up finishing in 5th, and we'll have a rematch with the Flags starting this Saturday night in Moortown. And again, they played Walpole Island this past Sunday and won 6-0, and that win was the one that officially put them in 5th place with those 2 points. But again, playoffs start on this Saturday, and I believe it was Sunday as well at the Libro Center. I know Fred's got a breakdown of the early part of the schedule. As of press time, we didn't know the entire best schedule for the best of 7 series. And I know, but Saturday night, they are in Moortown for game 1, and the next night, they are back at the Libro Center for game 2. And so drop by the Libro and cheer on the Admirals, and PJHL Staub's Division playoff action is underway. It's one of the best times of year because it's a playoff hockey. So the 42-game regular season is done, and the playoffs are now getting underway. Again, game 1, Saturday night, Moortown, Sunday night in Amherstburg.
North Star Sports, the season has wrapped for the junior boys basketball. Both the girls' junior and senior volleyball season has come to an end, as has boys hockey.
Yeah, and in fact, senior boys basketball has also come to an end. I didn't go to that game, so because they were on the road, and I was covering another game at home that night. It was volleyball. So the junior boys, they were in action and lost 59-57 in a really tight playoff game to the Catholic Central Comets. And so it was a tight game. North Star was up 14-4 at one point.
Wow.
But then Catholic Central clawed back. Actually took a fairly substantial lead after 3 quarters. Not to be deterred, the Wolves clawed back and made a very tight game of it. Unfortunately, at the end, they were able to make a shot on their final possession, and they ended up with a 2-point defeat. So Catholic Central advanced, and the Wolves were eliminated that night. That was February 10th. But you know what? That was last Tuesday night. So, great effort by the Wolves overall. And same for the seniors. They were out in Tecumseh. They played LeSueur that same night. They fell short. I believe it was 65-42 to the Eagles. And so their season ended. And so that was it for basketball at North Star. And volleyball also ended last week. The girls who the senior girls won their first playoff match at Assumption the previous week. So they were quite happy with that. They played top-seeded Bell River. So in the next round, and ended up losing in 3 sets. And then the juniors had Bell River back here on that same night. And the juniors won in 4 sets, but then they traveled to LeSueur a couple nights later, and LeSueur again being the top seed in junior girls volleyball knocked off the Wolves, so that eliminated the juniors. So the seniors and juniors were eliminated within 48 hours of each other, but great seasons for both. They learned a lot, and they had a couple of first-year head coaches. Maya Foreman helped lead the seniors, and Morgan Hadfield helped lead the juniors. So great job by the coaches, great job by the players, but they fell a little bit short, and they were eliminated. And then last Thursday, and the boys hockey team were in Essex. They battled the talented Essex Red Raiders team, and the Red Raiders won 4-1. So that was it for the boys hockey team. So again, Coach Glenn Holden took his young squad and as far as he could. And he was quite happy with the game, even though they lost, because the young team showed a lot of effort and, played hard. And so that's a lot of times what coaches ask for, that you just played hard. And that leaves just the girls team now. And the girls start their playoffs tomorrow. That's Thursday at 2:30 out at the Libro Center. They play Cardinal Carter. And sometimes it's hard to keep my CC schools straight.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, there's Catholic Central, who was here playing basketball last week, and Cardinal Carter's here Thursday afternoon at 2:30 for girls hockey action. So that game again, 2:30 out at the Libro Center. It's going to be a busy time. Well, it's starting to wrap up, but the girls are still going. I'll be busy covering that.
A sad note for the hockey community. I'm sure many people know Mark LeBlanc of the LeBlanc Skate Shop. He was kind of a permanent figure out at the Libro Center. He sharpened many skates and offered rolls of hockey tape. Mark unfortunately passed away on Saturday after a brief illness, but the hockey community won't forget Mark, and we really wanted just to take a minute and thank him for, making sure our kids were ready to take the ice and being there when, somebody needed something, and he was always there. There was nobody ever and anybody else inside the LeBlanc Skate Shop. It was always Mark, so he will be missed.
Absolutely. I know Mark many years. I know he was involved with minor hockey for many years. He's a supporter of the Women's League. I know his daughter Carly is also heavily involved with the Women's League, and she had her dad's full support. Mark is a great guy, and
he sponsored a lot of teams too.
Absolutely. As you say, Mark is just a great guy, and he'll be missed for sure. So condolences to the LeBlanc family, all their friends, and everyone who knew Mark. He'll definitely be missed, and he, like you say, he was definitely a fixture at the Libro Center, and it's going to be difficult and to go by the skate shop. No, he's not there anymore, so it's very sad. So again, best wishes and condolences to the LeBlanc family and all their friends.
All right, turning our attention to the weekend, Friday night, the so-called social. That's a pre-party for the party kind of situation for the coldest night of the year?
Yeah, they got the coldest night of the year is on February 28th, but the so-called socials at GL Heritage on Friday night.
I think it starts at 6.
I believe so.
I think so too.
So make sure you check that out, and
it'll be a good time.
Hopefully they get a big crowd out there at GL, and should be fun. And again, that's in leading up to and in support of the House Youth Center and their coldest night of the year walk. Again, the walk itself is February 28th, starting from the hub, 320 in Richmond, where the house is located. So
they're trying to raise $50,000. I don't even know if they're halfway there yet, but there's still time.
Yeah, I'm sure there's money. There's still money rolling in, I'm sure. So
yep, come together. It's a fun night. Both nights, the so-called social and the coldest night of the year.
And there's still time to donate, so please do. And there's more information in our community events column on how to donate at cnoy.org/Amherstburg.
Kids Curing Cancer Pasta Dinner is going to be at Sprucewood on Saturday. I know you're going out there for that, Ron. What's all in store for people that night?
It's usually a great night of food, music, tons of door prizes, and all in support of cancer treatment and cancer care. And again, this is the final year for Kids Curing Cancer. The kids are, some of them are not really kids anymore. They're young adults. So I know Lauren Belargeron started it when she was 9 years old.
Oh, my word.
No, I'm not sure.
I think she's 20.
Yeah, 20 or 21. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so she's building a life of her own, and her brother and sister are in high school now. And so, in fact, I saw Kirsten a couple times last week, girls hockey and girls volleyball. So, so they're having their pasta dinner, and hopefully the last one's a big one. So
go out with a bang, eh?
Absolutely. Let's see. Hopefully they raise a ton of money.
How do you get tickets if you're looking to go?
I would go on their social media and check it out. And Kids Curing Cancer. I know they're on Instagram, Facebook, so make sure you check that out.
It'd be a fun night out at Sprucewood.
Absolutely. And I know that's also the last weekend, I should say, for the exhibit at the Gibson Gallery put on by the Marsh Historical Collection. Small town, big industry, stories of Brunner Mond, General Chemical, Allied Chemical. Again, that's 11 to 5 both days, Saturday and Sunday. At the Gibson Gallery, free admission, donations accepted, and the Gibson Gallery gets a season underway shortly thereafter.
Right, they'll have opening exhibits pretty soon, eh?
Yep.
Spring is coming.
It is, believe it or not.
All right, was there anything else, Ron, that you wanted to touch on before we sign off for the day?
Just check out this week's paper. Again, shout out to our drivers, Louise and Ashley, for braving the rain in the morning at least, and hopefully it clears up in the afternoon for them. And they're going around delivering our papers and newspaper boxes in stores and apartments around Amherstburg, as well as stops in Essex, Harrow, and LaSalle.
All right, Amherstburg. Well, stay dry and enjoy the day.
Hey, have a great day. Have a great week. And we'll see you back here on the airwaves of 107.9 FM CKBG The Berg next Wednesday at 12 noon and the replay at 4:30 p.m. Brought to you by the Hearing and Dizziness Clinic, located at 285 Sandwich Street South in Amherstburg, or also find us in LaSalle, Essex, and Windsor. For more information or to book an appointment, visit us online at uhear.ca. The Hearing and Dizziness Clinic.